Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I just saw Shareef O'Neal's interview with the Lakers. It was a good 10 minutes long, and he gave us a lot, man. He gave us a lot. Yeah, I like his mindset, but I think he might have told us a little too much in regards to what his father's wishes are that might actually work against him. Because here's the thing, Shareef, your dad is really, really powerful. So if people get an inclination that he doesn't want something, they may be inclined not to go against his wishes. So I don't think that was the best information to share with the world. Not because you're going to disappoint your dad, but because it messes with your leverage. And that's part of being a pro. I think that's why he wants you to stay in school, because these are the type of things you're going to have to learn about. It's not as simple as just becoming a basketball player. You got to learn the game you're in, too. It's a game within the game, and then the game within the game within the game. It's a lot of games being played above you and around you, and so on and so forth. That's why I speak the way that I do, because I kind of have a outside, far away understanding of this based on how closely I've paid attention to this kind of stuff my entire life. So, yeah, it's one of those situations where I hope we do pick up Shareef O'Neal. I really do. I think it's a great player body build for what we need. As we've talked about a lot, wings are scarce in this league. But here's the problem. Because of it, I think it's a good chance he gets drafted. I think it's a very good chance he gets drafted. Now that I understand how weak the wing pool is in free agency, any player that is 6'8" to 6'11" who can play the 3 and the 4, if they're solid, good, or up to the level of the NBA, they probably should be getting chances this year more so than they ever would have. So I don't know that Shareef is going to be available to the Lakers. I think people think he's going to be available, and I have my questions. Now, I ain't done my homework on the whole draft, but I'm telling you, his body build, it's coveted. So the fact of the matter is, he is an O'Neal. So even if he's a project, it's still a project you want to invest in based on that circumstance. Now, what I think is going on there is I just think Shaq wants his son to go back to school. Obviously, Shaq is big on education, as Shareef mentioned in the interview. But, it's just one of those situations where, it's so much to learn about becoming an NBA player. And, he's going to have to go through it the hard way because he's not a highly touted prospect. Now, that doesn't mean he can't go on to have an amazing career, because clearly we've seen guys do that. We've seen it. But the path that they've had to take, the money that they get out the gate, those type of things is different. Now, obviously, money is not a problem for the young fellow, but that's not the point. The point is making sure he gets off to a good start in his career and doesn't have to float around on the path that Gary Payton II had to take, where he was with 7, 8, 9 different teams after starting the process of trying to make an NBA team. He had to get it out the mud in a different kind of way. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, he made it to the NBA. He's an NBA champion. He's demanding big money now, and he's going to get it. But his path didn't start when he put on a Laker uniform. His path started after that, unfortunately. He had to go to overseas. He had to go to the G League. He had to play around in the G League a little bit. And so that's the thing I'm worried about for Shareef. It's like, if he's not up to par, if he's not yet that level, because he did this, he's going to have to go all over the place to try to work his way to the league. And I think that's what ultimately what Shaq is worried about. Now, if he stays in school, maybe he still has that path. But again, the educational thing. Now he has an education that can that can give him a life outside of basketball that he can really work with. You know what I mean? And give him a path to basketball, because he had more time in college to build up his legacy. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I heard him. He was saying, I'm a grown man. I'm 22. This is what I want to do. And that's always what you expect to hear a young person say when they make a grown person's decision. But what you don't expect them to understand is why they shouldn't do it. It's like, that's the problem. It's like, yes, you understand why I'm telling you shouldn't do it, but why should you want to listen to what it is I'm saying? The young people usually never understand that part until after they've hurt over the circumstance not going right. So that's just how it sometimes goes. Don't have to go that way for Shareef, but that's what it appears Shaq is probably trying to keep him from having to go through. So, if Shareef is serious about basketball, he done been through worse. As he said, he went through the hard thing. He's been through worse. And the fire that he had in his eyes tells me that if he has to go through a hard path to get to basketball, if he's serious about getting to it, his fire inside him will make him do what he needs to do to get there. And it looks like he's fueled. And I don't want to jump into somebody's psychology. I don't have no right to do that. But just judging by what I saw at the end of that interview, it looks like he's fueled by being able to prove himself. You know, that's what it seemed like to me. He wants to prove himself worthy, and I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to do that. I have a very, very strong inclination that he's going to maximize his potential if health permits, of course. And that is a thing. That's another thing he has to understand and deal with in this league. Because he's had his heart issue, it's going to be something that they're going to use against him in negotiations at all times for the rest of his career. It just is what it is. People are going to always use negotiation tactics. They're going to always use things like that to try to give themselves a level or a leg up on your value. And I think that's something else Shaq, I'm sure, understands 130%, which is probably another angle for why he probably wanted his kid to stay in school. It's just a lot of stuff working against him for him to be not a high-level prospect and be somebody's kid. And, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a lot, bro. You got a lot working against you. You got to take the path that's going to give you the best possible cushion, in my opinion. But, shallow as it sounds, because his father is in the position that he's in, he can kind of take life chances like this, as to where a guy in the hood probably needs to play it a little more safe based on the circumstances leaning on whether or not he can take care of his family. This is a passion project for everybody involved. If it doesn't work out, I think they'll be fine. I guess it's safe to say he'll be able to lay his head down. So that's the good thing about the circumstance Shareef is in. The bad thing is it's still going to be a tough route if this doesn't catch here with the Lakers or with some team. Now, the thing is, here's the good thing. As I said at the beginning of the video, he's a coveted player right now. So if he lands with the Lakers, not only is he probably going to be with the team, but he's going to have a role. Like, this could be a great opportunity for him. And all he's doing is following the footsteps of his uncle Kobe. You know, everybody told Kobe to go to college, and Kobe said he wasn't going to college. And he was going to go to the Lakers, and he was going to find his way there. And he took that step against other people's desires for him and against the wisdom of getting his education. And we see how it panned out. Now, granted, Kobe is obviously Kobe. But I think what I'm saying is the example was shown to him by the best there is that this can be done. You know, he's not watching this like myself on TV. Kobe's his uncle, and he was in his ear the whole time, you know. And so I think I would never try to assume what Kobe would tell him to do, right? But I think the thing that I would tell him to do is just give yourself the best possible cushion to protect yourself from all of the pitfalls that come with joining the league as a second round or undrafted guy. You know what I mean? Protect yourself. Learn what you need to learn. Get with who you need to get with. And since it's already been decided on, just move forward as a pro. But I would have said stay in school, do the 4-year thing. Because for guys like yourself, it gives you the best possible cushion. Now you can say you're a 4-year guy. You've developed your body, your game to its maximum space. And even though you're a little older, you're going to be coveted by most people who value your body type and your father's power and what sway that could mean for them in other areas, which will work in your favor on that end, I think. So it's like, you know what I mean? As long as he's willing to put in the work and as long as there's some talent there, and that fire is real, I think he'll find his way. And we've seen guys from different, like I said, we've seen guys in his position turn into great players. Great players. You know what I mean? Gary Payton II is the latest example. In my opinion, one of the best defenders in the league. So if you got to take a long route, think about Patrick Beverley. If you got to take a long route, it doesn't mean that your dream is done. I was listening to Tim Legler, his inspiring story. It's incredible how many different pitfalls that he had to face and work uphill, try to get his basketball dream going. But if you love the game, you're going to do whatever it is. Ain't no second option. So he's talking like he loves the game. And we'll see where his journey takes him. So that's what I got to say, man. I would never compare him to his pops, nor would I put any cap on his ceiling either. I've seen some people say some things in the comment section. He ain't never gonna be his daddy. I mean, who is, right? I mean, who the hell is Shaq? I don't think that's realistic to ask any forward to be Shaq, but he can be himself. And if he works on his game and understands what it is that he can do to maximize himself, we know the DNA is there. He's Shaq's son. We know the DNA is there. So at the end of the day, he just has to love the game and work hard, and the rest will be whatever it's going to be. So I want my team to take a good look at him, and if it makes a lot of sense to us, bring him in. I feel the same way about Scott Pippen Jr. as well. These guys, it just makes a lot of sense since we are in the position we're in with the circumstances we're in. We probably should be looking for these type of players who can bring us not only the body types and the pedigree and the DNA of their fathers, but also the upside of potential based on their positions and what we need. So that's what I'm saying, and that's what I think it is. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching.